the ability to do that stuff from a distance. I mean, I can imagine the film industry using stuff, they'll like do something to trigger an explosion, you know. You can imagine something like that being used, whether it's in the construction industry or destruction industry, or
indeed,
the film industry.
Indeed, and that links us on to our next topic about Rey Mysterio and WWE superstar, and of course someone you've worked with, Dave Bautista, return to SmackDown 1000. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm an old school wrestling fan here, but these two guys are my favourite, and Rey Mysterio beat Sensei Nakamura, which on his return, I'm not too sure if it's all connected in with 2K19, but I know that Rey Mysterio is back for a short time, and I'm really pleased because he was one of my favourite Mexican wrestlers of all time. If you haven't heard of Rey Mysterio and you're a wrestling fan, you need to check him out. And of course, Dave Bautista made a shock return on SmackDown 1000 with Ric Flair, Triple H and Randy Orton, the Evolution standpoint. Now, what do you think? He was going in it and they're teasing it now. Batista's going to have one last match with Triple H, perhaps at a WrestleMania. I know, it's going to be insane. So what are your thoughts on Dave Bautista as a person, Nick? And what do you think would he go through in order to be ring ready? Now he's obviously a famous film star, and then going back into the ring.
Right. Dave Bautista is a lovely guy. I only sort of like met him briefly when we were filming Final Score. But yeah, he does genuinely seem like a nice guy, very approachable. He was happy to have his photo taken with people.
That's really nice. Yeah, you've got a photo with him, haven't you?
So yeah, I think the thing with Batista is he's kind of gone away from WWE, come back, gone away, come back. I mean, I'm not entirely sure exactly how old he is now.
He must be well in his 40s now, I think.
He's probably not far off turning 50. Hearing about him making a comeback to WWE, I just find myself thinking, once a WWE wrestler, always a WWE wrestler.
That's right, yes.
No matter how many times you go away.
holidaycottages.co.uk. Properties handpicked by us, memories made by you.
You will come back again. People just boomerang back to WWE.
People still talk about The Rock, even though I don't think he's had an active match for about 10 years.
Oh, possibly even more than that. I mean, in his case, he's in just like every movie going at the moment.
That's right.
So
it's insane.
For him,
yeah,
it's a little bit more complicated, but
he does work a lot more.
Where a lot of and he's a very in film star.
Very in film star.
He was pretty much the what's the term I'm looking for?
Media lovely, definitely.
Perhaps perhaps a bit of a cash cow in.
Yes.
He was kind of like the star who was guaranteed
to bring people in. Yes, definitely.
A bit like Will
audience.
Smith in the 90s.
And definitely Dave Bautista, him, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Triple H. Can you imagine that combo? That just oozes ratings.
I'm amazed the ring will stay upright in that.
I know, yeah. And they've also brought back Undertaker and Kane, which is insane. They're bringing back a lot of the older stars, and it shows that the product needs the old personalities. And I think Dave Bautista versus Triple H, I think that's going to be a great match. And I can imagine that Dave Bautista is really going to train hard to get back into ring shape. I mean, I've seen some of the food that The Rock eats on a daily basis to stay in the shape he is. And literally, it's a dining table's worth of food. When he filmed Hercules, I watched this interview with him, and he was literally eating this whole table's worth of food and then exercising for most of the day. This guy is pumped up, and it wouldn't surprise me if Dave Bautista does a similar thing.
Yeah.
Really gets back into ring
shape.
shape.
Around and he'll just eat anything.
But yes, indeed.
I think the thing is, wrestling. we remember wrestling in the 90s.
That's it. And you've got some wrestling
when it really took off, and it was
the Attitude Era, and you've got some wrestling experience yourself, haven't you?
Yes, I've compared a few local matches.
This is true.
Here in Essex, and I have to say, there's some brilliant passion out there. There's some brilliant characters.
That's right.
In the local wrestling world. So if you do see a local wrestling match near to you in the area,
please do check it out.
go along and support it. There's great guys. You know, it's there's lots of like really people who are just enjoyable to watch.
That's right, and really
I think-
entertaining and athletic as well. You can tell that they're hungry to show
Yeah.
the crowd how
Yeah.
well they
And
can do.
And I think, I mean, that in many ways, I think lots of people, when WWE took off in the early 90s, obviously
really
it was,
took off. It was
the
around
World
for
Wrestling
ages before
Federation
that.
back then, and it
Yes.
was around for ages. But I just remember in the 90s, you know,
Yeah.
you had songs about wrestling in the top 40.
That's right, the
you know,
Attitude Era and things
and
like
there
that was the top
yeah,
one.
It was, in many ways, that was when it kind of went from being quite popular to just stratospheric. And I think that lasted for kind of like around a decade. It was still being
Yeah.
shown on national, terrestrial television at the
Channel
time.
5 and
when-
things like that
yeah,
were
it did.
definitely having it.
And when that so I think they are still the people that people
Yeah.
remember. you know.
Everyone remembers the Mankind versus Undertaker Hell in a Cell match, things like that. That's one of the top ones,
So,
where Mick Foley nearly got his back broken from being thrown from the top of the cell
there we go.
into the ring again.
I think the thing we find
props
is
to Mick Foley.
Yeah, I think the other reason that a lot of wrestlers are coming back is simply because they just want to. It's good for them to just dine out on this thing they're known for
That's right.
until they basically become absolutely crippled and have no bones left.
Which is what's going to happen to The Undertaker. If you're watching Mark Calloway, please don't wrestle anymore, it's doing you in. Anyway, we're going to now move on to House on the Haunted Hill, which is a new series on Netflix, and it is making people sick.
Discover new Intense by Philadelphia.
Yes, this is actually making people feel ill, and I can't believe it. I've watched the pilot episode, and to be totally honest with you, it's the first time I've been scared properly in about 6 years. Now, nothing has really touched me. No games and things like that have really scared me much, but this has. I was watching it with the boss, and we were scared whatsitless. It's probably the most scariest 50 minutes of my horror movie watching, sort of subculture.
That's
It was
actually
fun.
really worrying. I mean, when
It
you consider when The Exorcist first came out in the
That's
70s,
right.
you had people throwing up
I
in
know.
and out of the cinema.
And that's what people are doing with House on the Haunted Hill.
So what is making them sick? What is it doing to them?
Basically, it has a general sense of foreboding.
Right.
There is the fact that what you see safe, as in your house and things like that, and your natural
So the
environment,
setting, yeah.
the setting, the fact that it takes a natural, nice environment and turns it flip side, is what's majorly about it as well.
So it's
and
a bit
the
like reminiscent like Paranormal Activity.
Yes,
and that?
very much Paranormal Activity-esque, apart from the dodgy camera work and better effects. And of
Yeah.
course, you've got the fact that the ghosts are scary, and inanimate objects that you wouldn't be scared by are then turned into scary things. So I would definitely say no spoilers here, but it's well worth a watch, definitely. And so it's been making people sick. So if you're quite sensitive to that stuff, watch it and see if you like. But if you are genuinely scared of horror films, avoid it. I'd like to do an update on the hinching aspect of what we were talking about, Nick.
Oh,
Remember
is this the housework queen?
the housework queen, Mrs. Hinch?
That sounds condescending. It's not. Seriously, if anyone who
Yeah.
can make housework fun and stuff, yeah, I salute them.
I know, yeah, she's doing a really good job. Her followers are going up and up and up and up and up as the time goes by. I think it's something like 100,000 or something insane. I'm sure if the
It's
boss
even
is
more than
watching,
that, yeah.
she'll let me know. There's just tons of people. We've been doing it every night. To be quite gross, I've been cleaning the cat litter every night, and it's making the cat litter last longer. I've been, putting this special stuff down the toilet, getting rid of the lime scale, been putting soda crystals down the plug holes, things like that with vinegar. Really sort of saving myself time in the long run, thanks to Mrs. Hinch. And I think she's great. And I think if you are into housework or you're not into housework and you want to try and make it a bit fun, I would definitely suggest checking her out. She's a very interesting woman, very down to earth, and she's very helpful.
You need to do a video of you doing all this stuff and put like a dance soundtrack onto it. Like, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom, boom.
Well, that's
Watch me
already-
as I clean the litter tray.
that's exactly what she does. You know, she actually does her videos to music, like popular music as well. So I think if you think about it like that, if you try and make something banal and boring entertaining, I think props to you. I think
Does she
it's
do a lot of
fantastic.
dancing and stuff?
She does a lot of dancing and a very relaxed Essex sort of like accent, and she's very homely and very kind person. So I think if anyone could make housework fashionable, it's Mrs. Hinch. So big shout out to her. And like we were talking about Halloween again, like I was saying, Badger Jr. is really looking forward to it. We do have some Halloween candy that I'm going to do a food mukbang on, and it's similar to the Harry Potter ones, you know, every flavour. So some of it's going to be nice and some of it's going to be horrible. We've got that to look forward to. That's going to be fun. And hopefully me and Nick are going to do a little chat about Essex horror and Essex sort of paranormal activity, aren't we? And yes, indeed. And I'm off to
Giving
a thing.
ourselves nightmares.
Yeah, and I'm off to a thing next week at the local museum, which is going to be nice. I'll do a talk about that later on if I can. It's going to be good fun. So, anything else you'd like to add to the show, Nick, before we head off?
Wow, I'm thinking of getting myself an advent calendar for November, because there's loads of them in the shops. You know, and
To
we
be
can't just- and we
continued.
can't just have them all sitting around until December. So,
No.
you know, the thing is, you've probably got enough to last you the first few months of next year as well.
This is
I-
true. Why would you sell advent calendars in October?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. Yeah. And I got my first Black Friday email earlier this week. Black Friday listeners is the end of November, and it's only been in the last couple of years that anyone outside of America has even heard of it, because everyone's having Black Friday, because all of a sudden all the websites have Black Friday deals. But yeah, it doesn't actually happen until the end of November. So yeah, I mean, Christmas, hearing about it didn't completely surprise me. You know, even though I'd much rather everyone focused on Halloween for now. You know, live in the present, live for the moment, and all that. But yeah, Black Friday emails already. So,
You just digest that before we head off. And it's bye from me,
and bye from me and him.
and him, and you. Don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on today's episode and anything you would like us to chat about next time. And let us know what your thoughts are on today's show. Feel free, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Ta-ta for now, peeps.
Bye, guys.
Building your online business? Go to Wix.com and set up your store on a single integrated platform. Add products, showcase them dynamically, and seamlessly track your inventory. Accept multiple secure payments, and design your storefront down to the very last detail. Get all the tools you need. Drive more sales with customizable gift cards and flexible product subscriptions. Retain customers with a point-based loyalty program, email automations, and reach millions with sales channel integrations. Complete your setup with a personalized analytics dashboard. Make smart business decisions and shape the next phase of your business. Build, manage, and grow from one place. Go to Wix and launch your online business today.
Hello, Barmy Badger Army.
Hey, Badger Army.
Welcome to On the Bench once again with myself, the Badger, and Mr. Nick.
Well, hello there.
Indeed. Today we're going to be talking about World Mental Health Day and last night's Mariah Carey performance, which is going to be very interesting to talk about. So, Nick, you know a lot about World Mental Health Day, so
Well,
I'm going to be educated in this. So, you tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's the thing with a lot of these days as such is they're just designed to try and bring more awareness to
That's right.
to things, and mental health is one of those things. It's been in the news a lot lately.
Yes, indeed it has.
But the actual amount of funding of treatments and stuff hasn't actually gone up that much.
Really?
I think in
You'd
the
think it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With the mass explosion of youth and everyone being a bit more open, you know, it's okay to not be okay and all that sort of thing. You think that the money would grow with the expansion of everyone being a
lot
bit
of it
more
is-
honest with it.
A lot of it's we've seen a lot more. We've seen a lot of the not-for-profit organisations.
That's
such
right,
as-
that's good.
Such as Mind,
Yeah.
and among others, become more prolific. Which has
That's
been,
good.
Yeah, it's
Being a
been
bit
great
more
to see.
open about the situation. I would say
Yeah.
problem, but that's not the right word.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that people are becoming more aware of, you know, and that's great to see. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I think
very good.
I mean, we back in the day. I mean, we both grew up with
Yes.
with conditions that we weren't really diagnosed with until later
This
in
is
life.
true.
I
The
mean,
1980s was a very strange time period with that sort of thing. You know, I had bad asthma as a child, and at one point I could barely walk. And I just think, you know, a lot of the stuff that happened then, you know, if I had modern medicine, I would have been a lot better, a lot quicker. You know.
Yeah, I mean, asthma was it was publicised quite a lot. People were just like, can you run long if you run long distances, will you drop dead? That's the kind of thing that I think people came up with back then.
Yeah, it's
But,
all very non-PC now.
But
that, you
I
know,
think it's.
that then.
But one thing you said was that you also had severe anxiety, which, you know, I mean, this kind of like notion that it could actually be a health condition.
This is
was
true.
unheard of. And personally, I grew up with Asperger's syndrome, although I wasn't formally diagnosed until
Okay.
3 years ago in my mid-30s.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And
That's
it's,
interesting. So what, you know, going on with it, what actually drove you to get yourself diagnosed? I don't really like that word, but go on.
Reading about it, and I used to participate on a lot of forums where they talk about game shows and stuff, and I found out a lot of
Okay.
people on those forums
Yeah.
were on the autistic spectrum.
Okay.
And the more I read into it, and I started looking it up, and the more I read into it, the more I thought, you know, is this me? You know, I did that and that and that. You know,
Okay.
a lot of it I recognised. And the thing is, as a child, I never felt properly in control of myself.
Really?
You know, yeah, I would.
Okay.
If someone did something, if someone like moved something, I'd go ape at them.
Really? Okay.
Somebody that I went to school with once told me that apparently he trod on my bag at one point, and I went ape. And I told the teacher, and apparently she kept him in.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a random thing, isn't
That's
it?
just completely. But
yeah.
it's just like every so often you'll go nuts at someone, but it's almost like someone else was.
Okay,
But
I see what you're saying.
You just, and that's I mean, unfortunately, I still have kind of like autism meltdowns now.
Right, okay,
Often when
yeah.
I miss trains and stuff like that. You know,
Which we've experienced a few times.
yeah, and it's like I can vary from being able to do talks like this quite easily, you know, to having train station staff afraid to approach me because I'm sort of sitting in a corner screaming.
Right. Well, that's
Not a good look. It's
Not a
up
good
there.
look.
It's up there with peeling a banana and picking up a frisbee, and that it's impossible to look cool while having a meltdown.
and wearing a Christmas jumper. But it's just one of these things where I think, you know, like you were saying, but then forearmed is forewarned and all that sort of thing. So I think, you know, World Mental Health Day, getting back on point, is very important because obviously you're then teaching or sort of, you know, learning about the situations that could happen, and then you're more able to deal with them. I think that's very interesting.
Absolutely. I think the weights. I think it's just sort of like encouraging people to be more open about it, and
Which can't be a bad thing.
yeah, I think the trouble that we have is that things like depression and
Yes.
anxiety. You know,
labels.
one of the things people say is, well, everyone gets anxious, everyone gets depressed, but it's actually but there's a difference between, you know, being a bit unhappy or a bit nervous and
Yeah.
actually having depression and anxiety. You know, it's a difficult thing to manage, and also it's a difficult thing for professionals
Yes.
to be able to work with, you know,
Yeah.
which is, you know, and that's another good thing is why we have these. You know, we're kind of thinking, you know, how can we you know, how do we manage ourselves? How do we know when actually there's more to it than just being just reacting to someone? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember I remember hearing a talk.
At Booking.com, finding perfect isn't all that difficult. Beachfront property, no problem. Kitchen, how are you guys? Got it. And EV charging. Find your perfect place to stay. Booking.com, booking.yeah.
by someone saying, you know, you get something called reactive depression.
Okay.
Which is a reaction to a situation, like if somebody
Right.
leaves you, somebody dies. But afterwards, but kind of like if you kind of feel after a long period of time, it becomes what's known as a chemical depression.
Okay.
You know, and that's when the actual condition comes in. That's when you can be prescribed antidepressants.
So it's obviously interesting. You want to stop yourself or try to get advice and guidance and help before it gets to the chemical stage, I guess. Okay, so that's a good bit of interesting advice there, Nick. And thanks for the chat about World Mental Health Day.
Indeed, I think
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's just, and the other thing that I would say is that that people deal with it, and people find ways to, if not cure it, then get through it in different ways. You know, it's not as simple as going for a walk,
No, it's
or
true.
doing yoga,
No.
but it's also not as simple as just being prescribed some random medication.
No.
You know, I mean,
you don't want to go down that route unless you have to.
Lots of us with
really.
conditions do take medication and find it more effective than taking a walk in the park.
Well, this is very true.
Which
This is very
something
true.
that people need, which I think is something that, and I think what we need to do is we need to realise that people can deal with it and people respond to it in different ways. You know, and I think you know, getting to know yourself and
Yes.
you know what sets you off, what triggers you. That's triggered in the actual medical sense,
I
not
know,
triggered
yeah.
as in slightly offended. And
Yes.
you know what it's all about, kind of like what works for you.
That's
and
true.
The more awareness we can give to people who talk
The
about
better.
what get people to think about and talk about what works for them, the better.
Definitely. And then we're going to talk about Mariah Carey quickly.
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey quickly.
Standing
yes.
completely still
Whilst-
during an awards performance. Now, I often feel like we shouldn't
Yeah.
be too hard on Mariah Carey because she has actually had mental health issues in the past.
Yes, this is very true.
We probably shouldn't be too hard on her for this.
This is true, but it's very tempting to roast her to oblivion because she has been deemed as lazy on Twitter. It was a lazy performance.
Like just standing there while all these naked men danced around her.
I know, it's like,
mean,
it's
Mariah-
very random. I can sort of see why she would pitch that as a good idea. It's like, oh yes, I'm nonchalant to them and they're all sort of going for me, but I'm not interested. That's the sort of vibe that it could have been. Like a very kooky performance.
I mean, she's in her late 40s now. People
Is
forget.
she? I
Yeah,
think I
she's-
thought she was older than that, to be honest.
No, I think, but yeah, I think early 70s she was born. Her first
I
hit
don't
single
think
was
she's
in the
quite early
90s.
70s, Nick. She's good for
Born in the early 70s. Badger, honestly.
I was going to say she's good for her age.
Yes, there's no denying that. But yeah, I mean, those of you who've seen her New Year's Eve performance,
Yes, this is
from
very true.
a couple of years back, oh my goodness,
Terrible, was
does
it?
seem a bit, it's just
Atrocious. Well, I remember, she's always been that sort of person where I think she's made her money now and she just feels that she has to every now and again perform, because, like Michael Bublé, defrost at Christmas.
Yeah, she did once. Apparently, she was once quoted as saying she doesn't do stairs.
Really?
Yeah, on a performance that for a music performance once they asked her to walk down some stairs, and apparently her reply was, "I don't do stairs."
What?
So, well, to be honest with you, I think maybe we should be glad that she's still out there. She's still performing.
I mean, but yeah, no, it's definitely the sort of thing I always associate Mariah Carey with Christmas and around this time of year.
yeah, she gets a lot of her Christmas song is still probably one of the most played Christmas songs
Of all
give
time.
Give it a couple of months, and it'll be all you hear.
This is very true. That and The Darkness,
Yeah.
and
Although it's and Slade.
And Slade.
Let's
I do have
not
some,
dwell too much on that now. Remember, Halloween hasn't happened yet at the
This
time
is
of
true,
filming.
yes, this is true. It's
and-
not quite Christmas, guys.
Indeed.
nearly Christmas.
I know, but we'll have Halloween first, so let's focus on that.
And fireworks.
And fireworks, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do. So that's been going on. Of course, during the weekend we had Khabib versus McGregor.
Which was very bizarre.
All we can say about that is
It was like a WWE showdown.
Remember how in WWE they basically satirize that kind of stuff because they're thinking no one would do something that daft in real life.
And that is actually what happens. You know, they make it outlandish on purpose, that they have the match and then they have the after brawl where they're all beating each other up at the end of it, and it's meant to be over the top, and it's so weird that reality has now bled, you know, and fiction has now bled into reality. It's so strange.
Yeah, so yeah, just remember, kids, be nice.
Be nice.
Be
and
nice.
Don't try this at home like
Good grief,
WWE.
do
says.
not try that at home. Don't try what happens in the ring, and don't try what happens out of the ring.
Unless you're with a professional instructor learning properly.
Yes, although I think even your professional instructor would be a little bit taken aback if you tried to do that.
Yeah, no cage brawls.
No cage brawls, yeah, and slagging each other off beforehand. Just oh my goodness.
That must have definitely exacerbated the situation. Well,
yeah.
Thank you for joining me once again, Nick. It's been really fun once again to squeeze in another on the bench.
Indeed. Stay safe in body and mind, people.
Most definitely, and have a great day, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the show, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully, I'll be streaming later on. Game to be announced. See you later on, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
For now. Bye, Army.
Bye, guys.
Moments of excitement, of escape and adventure. Quiet moments when it's just the two of you. Or the fun you have when you all get to be together. Magical moments you never planned or expected. This is how memories are made. holidaycottages.co.uk. Properties handpicked by us, memories made by you.
Hello, Balmy Badger Army.
Hey,
Hope
Badger
you're
Army.
well, guys. Welcome to the show. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about, on the bench, we're going to be talking about October.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about Peppa Pig. And we're going to be talking about,
Jeffrey Hayes.
sadly, R.I.P., a big part of our life. And, you know, I love that guy. You know.
Yeah. Everyone did in the 80s.
Yeah, indeed.
Right. It's October.
Indeed
It's
it
starting
is.
to get cold, so huddle up.
Huddle up. It is very cold this morning. There was almost a ghostly-like mist on the eve of October's Essex. Actually, it was quite misty this morning. That's enough. It's awkward now. But yes, this morning it was really weird. It was like hot sunshine, but there was also a lot of mist. And when I woke up about 6:30 this morning, there was like a big film of fog. So I think that's going to be the ongoing thing. Lots of moisture in the air, lots of crisp leaves on the ground.
There's tons of them down here.
There's literally tons of them down here.
Just kind of like hold it up and round like this. So
Yeah,
people
it's
will
a
be
bit
able to
like
see it.
panorama-y.
Look
There
at
you go.
that.
Yeah, there's literally tons of leaves.
There's actually still lots of green on the trees, as you can see behind us. But
Yes.
we're going to be like drowning in leaves within the next few weeks.
Yes, lots of fallen leaves on the ground. Billy Talent reference
Oh
there.
yes.
But yeah, so, you know, obviously October is synonymous with horror, with the weather changing, Sam Hain, paganism, you know, feeding the dead, all sorts of stuff like that. Lots of gruesome, cool things that you guys might enjoy.
How's your Feeding the Dead schedule looking?
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. We are actually going to be going out, probably doing some trick-or-treating in due course. What's your experiences with trick-or-treating, Nick?
I'm not a fan of trick or treating, in all honesty.
No.
I think once upon a time my dad had rice sprayed on his car.
Oh,
In a trick
right.
or treat session. And
Okay.
Been pretty much against it ever since.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit funny because it's like there's good parts of it. I think you're always going to get good kids that do it and then bad kids that do it. I mean, round my neighbourhood when I was a kid, it was really weird because obviously my birthday is on October the 31st. So everyone used to find it funny to egg my house. So if you're watching, thanks for that. Years of torment. Great. But yeah, it was hilarious. Thumbs down. But yeah, it was great stuff, you know, I really enjoyed it. When I came older, and I actually really sort of found it really nice to sort of be having a birthday on Halloween. To begin with, like I said, I wasn't really given a nice taste of it. But when I got older, I actually really enjoyed having my birthday on there because it was like all the stuff I'm into, all the sort of nerdy, geeky things, and all the exciting horror films and the games and all that sort of stuff. And then I could celebrate it with my birthday. So as I got older, I actually enjoyed it more. And, you know, going trick-or-treating with Badger Jr. is always fun. We went to a special Halloween party last year. Cake, ghoulish fun, spooky, silly music. You know, and I think you've got to embrace it, you know, and it's really fun. I think even if you don't believe in Halloween or want to practice that side of it, surely it's a nice sort of occasion to dress up and have a bit of a party.
Must admit, I do enjoy the dressing up parties
Yes.
at Halloween. I think
Yes, indeed.
I think they're good to get involved in.
They are indeed. And obviously now with the excitement of cosplay, everyone seems to be doing it. It doesn't need to be Halloween, so it can be any time. You know.
I actually went to, a friend of mine had her wedding reception. I think it was 3 days before Halloween.
Okay.
And, you know, just encouraged everyone to come in fancy dress. And I went as Waldo.
That's cool.
So, yeah, where's Wally?
Oh, that's brilliant. Where's Wally? Yeah.
So and it's quite rewarding that because because you just have to turn up and everyone feels a sense of achievement that they've found Wally.
Oh, that's great. I used to love it. I used to love Where's Wally as a kid. But yes,
As
back.
did I.
Indeed, me too. And on the next part of the show, we're going to be talking about Rainbow, Jeffrey Hayes.
Rainbow.
Oh,
Rainbow,
man.
any kid who grew up in the 80s and
Yes.
late 70s
That's right.
will remember Jeffrey and Bungle and George and Zippy.
Oh, goodness me. It was so
Yeah.
lovely, wasn't it?
It
You
really
know,
was.
It was that sort of state of innocence and it was brilliant and you just sort of loved it. It was brilliant. And there was that sort of thing, you know, you used to come home and watch it. And once again, like we talked about many times before now, there used to be a magic about old school children's TV. And that was brilliant.
And the theme tune.
Don't copyright me. Rainbow. Brilliant. But yeah, and also with Jeffrey, and what was it, the girl that was in it as well?
Rod, Jane and Freddie?
Rod, Jane and Freddie, the sort of Freddie, the sort of band, I guess.
The musical
band.
accompaniment.
Yes, that was brilliant.
But yeah, the fact that Bungle wore nothing for most of the day, but always wore pajamas.
Yeah, that was weird.
What was really going on under the table whenever you saw George and Zippy? You know, did they even have bodies?
Who knows? We'll never find out.
Yeah, you know,
Oh my God.
you know, it's like a George challenging gender stereotypes.
Of course, that was brilliant.
With the eyelashes and that voice.
Totally unintentional for back then as well. But it
Indeed.
was brilliant.
Indeed, you know, and I think, but yeah, I think, because I think Jeffrey was in Rainbow from when it started in
yes.
the mid '70s.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure
to
there's been like a black and white
early
episode
90s
as well.
to the early 90s.
Really? He was in it till then.
Yeah, he was in it till about 92, 93.
Crumbs.
And then he disappeared and they put more puppets in because
Oh,
apparently
right.
that's what people wanted.
Okay,
I mean,
I
for
never
me,
knew that happened.
For me, it was,
you know.
yeah. For me, it was much of a muchness. I mean, I was like a big fan of like puppets and.
Did they
and
ever
things
explain
that-
where Jeffrey went?
I have no idea.
Dun dun
Possibly
dun.
not.
That's a bit weird,
but,
then, isn't it?
But yeah, you know, it's like, fond memories of.
Oh yeah, me
of
too.
Rainbow,
I
and
absolutely adored
even
it.
after that, he carried on like going to schools,
Conventions
singing
and Oh,
singing
really?
songs
Really?
and things like that. So yeah.
Oh,
you
okay,
know,
so he was a
he
real
did-
trooper there. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
so yeah,
cool.
he did carry on. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
you know, a great legacy he leaves behind.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah, no,
so-
like I said, I can't empathise enough that when I was a kid I used to love it and it was brilliant because obviously, you know, those in the know will know my real name. I won't reveal it here, but you know. And so one of my classic nicknames as a child was Bungle, and I carry that to this day, which is painful but true. So that's how much I used to enjoy Rainbow. And now we're going to talk about the next bit of the show, which is Peppa Pig.
No, you sent me this, but I've only seen like the headline and the subheading.
Me
of
too.
this.
Me too.
So-
But basically, Peppa Pig has been banned in some countries because of gang culture references. Why? What is that all about? I really don't understand why Peppa Pig would be banned from.
Have you actually seen the full article? Does it explain why?
It does, yeah. It pretty much goes into it. It's like an article from The Independent, pretty much going into the fact that she bosses them about, and it's like one of these things where they're all fighting back with her, and things like that. It's mad.
What is it not authoritative enough for them over in the Far East?
It's just insane the way they actually build it. Actually, he comes up with quite a convincing case. But yes,
You'll need to send me this article.
Perhaps I
put
will.
a link to the article in the description.
maybe I will.
Yes.
But yes, another point of Peppa Pig that not many people know is, of course, that the headmistress of the preschool is actually a vampire. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, because she comes from the old country and she doesn't have a reflection.
Right.
Yeah,
So
Madame Gazelle is a vampire.
righto. That's,
How bizarre is
does
that?
that kind of go over the heads of the kids who are watching it?
I had to look at it and I was like, what? So there's this specific episode when she comes back off holiday and she goes, yeah, I've been back from the old country.
All right.
And they all think she's going to leave, but really, she has like this rock and roll band. So she brings back all the other gazelles and they're all in this massive band and they're all ancient and none of their reflections show in the mirror.
Well, I never.
So they're all vampires. Yeah, I looked
Do you think
it up.
maybe it's run into trouble in these countries because of this as well?
Yeah, I
'Cause,
think-
you know,
I
occult and stuff.
I think the meta jokes get it into trouble. I think as soon as the adults that that watch the show realise, and it's in specific countries, I think they go, "What? No."
Yeah, suddenly all your kids are going to want to be vampires.
Or
Once upon a
gang
time,
members.
I pretended being like I was a vampire once when I was a kid. I think I drew some fangs on myself.
Who didn't?
I
though?
think that
Who
was-
didn't?
Yeah.
And also, you know, you go to Peppa Pig World. I've got a reliable source that they sell bacon and ham sandwiches.
Let that sink in.
Let that sink in. You go to Peppa Pig World, you can buy yourself a nice bacon sandwich. That's a bit weird, isn't it? That's a bit weird. But yes, so I'm looking forward to doing lots more Halloween themed episodes with me and Nick. It's going to be
Indeed.
lots of fun and lots of random facts and good stuff. But yeah, I really was upset about Jeffrey, and you know, that hit me harder than the Chuckle Brothers, believe it or not.
Blimey.
I know, because it was such a thing when I was a kid. I absolutely adored that guy. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the puppets, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, I loved it to bits. But yeah, it's just such a fond memories. That and Button Moon.
Button moon.
Button Moon, be back soon, yeah. And on that note, we're going to head off. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Indeed we
Please
will.
leave your comments on October weather, October in general, horror and cosplay in the chat, and
And
also
your memories of Rainbow.
and your memories of Rainbow, and
And any other observations that you've noticed during Peppa Pig.
indeed, yeah, any weird and wonderful facts, or any random things you want to chat about, and we'll bring it back for next week. Thanks very much. Nick's getting cold. It is a bit nippy
Keep
here.
warm.
Keep safe. Keep well, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now, Barmy Badger
Bye,
Army.
Badger Army.
It's bye from me. It's bye from him.